My beloved child, listen carefully. What is being whispered to your spirit now is not random. You didn't click this by accident. The timing is divine, and the message that has found you carries the weight of heaven behind every word. Archangel Michael says, the hour is late, and heaven has been trying to reach you. This moment is not just a message. It is a breakthrough wrapped in warning. There is someone in your life who you have loved deeply. You have prayed for them, waited for them, believed in them even when they gave you reasons to walk away. And now something has shifted. You can't explain it in words, but your spirit feels the difference. The warmth is fading. The connection feels hollow. The presence once familiar now feels distant, even when they are near. Archangel Michael says, your spirit has sensed what your mind is still trying to deny. This is not just a change. This is a spiritual redirection. Heaven is urging you to pay attention to what is quietly falling apart in your life, not as punishment, but as protection. Someone close to you is preparing to leave, and though they may not say it aloud, their soul has already started stepping away. Their loyalty has already begun to unravel in the unseen. You can feel it in the silence, in the way their words carry less weight, in the way your spirit tenses when they enter the room. My child, the pain that is coming is not a curse. It is a calling. This is the moment heaven has chosen to open your eyes. Archangel Michael is standing beside you, not with sorrow, but with purpose. He says the path you are on has reached a turning point. There is no going back to what was. You have outgrown the place you once called safe. The one you held on to was never meant to carry your next season. And the longer you hold on, the deeper the wound will grow. Say this now. I trust the redirection of heaven. Heaven whispers, you are not being abandoned. You are being aligned. You are not losing love. You are being led toward a love that can hold your whole heart without trembling. You are not being punished. You are being protected from carrying what was never yours to hold. There are tears you haven't cried yet. There is grief waiting to surface. But through every ache, heaven is lifting something heavy from your soul. Michael says, this isn't just about someone leaving. It's about who you are becoming without them. You have spent nights carrying the weight of silence, wondering what changed. You blamed yourself. You replayed the moments. You tried to fix what was never broken, only misaligned. But now, the silence is holy. The shift is sacred. The goodbye is wrapped in glory. Because this child is your liberation disguised as loss. You have stayed when it was hard. You have loved when it was easier to leave. You forgave when bitterness begged to take root, and heaven has seen it all. Every tear you wiped alone, every prayer you whispered into your pillow, every time you broke so someone else could stay whole. You were never unnoticed. You were never unheard. You were never forgotten. Say aloud, I am not forgotten. I am being guided. There is someone from heaven, someone you love, who has been trying to reach you. They've seen what you couldn't. They've shouted across the veil of this world to get your attention. And today, they have broken through the noise. They are standing beside you now, whispering into your soul. Pay attention. Watch the signs. Trust what you feel. Michael says, the person you are thinking of right now is the one heaven is speaking about, the one whose heart has grown quiet toward you, the one whose presence has turned into distance. You have noticed, haven't you? The way their words sound different now, the way they don't ask like they used to, the way they don't look at you the same. Heaven is not asking you to chase. Heaven is asking you to release. Type 444. If you feel this truth awakening in your heart, this is not the kind of ending that screams. This is the kind that slips away slowly, until one day you wake up and realize their spirit left long before their body did. Archangel Michael says, Do not beg what heaven is trying to remove. Do not rebuild what heaven is gently taking down. What feels like falling apart is actually falling into place, beloved. You are being called to trust what doesn't make sense yet, to release what doesn't want to stay, to make peace with the unanswered questions. This is not the end of your worth. It is the beginning of your realignment. This is not the death of love. It is the rebirth of clarity. And though it hurts now, one day you will look back on this moment and whisper, "Thank you," because heaven is weaving something better, something stronger, something safer. Say this now. I release what is fading. I make room for what is true. Archangel Michael says, you are being positioned. And those who cannot carry your light will fall away, not by punishment, but by purpose. They were never your anchor. They were your lesson. And their season in your life has reached its sacred conclusion. Let go, not in anger, not in fear, but in peace. You do not have to hold what is trying to leave. You do not have to carry what is breaking beneath you. Trust that what's ahead will make sense of what's behind. I trust divine timing to align with heaven's plan. Michael says, there is a moment of clarity coming in the next few days. A dream, a silence that says more than any conversation could. And when that moment comes, you will know what to do. You will feel it in your chest, in your breath, in your bones. That this was not a coincidence. That this message found you because heaven has been trying to get through. This is not a warning to fear. It is a preparation to rise. Beloved one, you are not walking into loneliness. You are stepping into purpose. You are not being cast aside. You are being set apart. And when the door finally closes, when the goodbye finally echoes, do not rush to reopen what God has gently sealed. Some doors are not meant to be touched twice. Michael says this goodbye is sacred. And what comes next is holy. Stay with me. Because what you're about to see will make every unanswered prayer, every hidden tear, and every quiet heartbreak worth it. Say aloud, I am ready. My child, listen. There are moments in life when heaven's silence becomes its loudest warning. You've been feeling that, haven't you? The ache that doesn't have a name. The pause in the middle of a sentence. The weight that comes and goes without reason. That is heaven's voice speaking through everything your mind cannot yet process. Archangel Michael says, the warning has already come. Now the release must begin. Someone in your life has already made their decision, not with words, but with distance, not with departure, but with detachment. Their soul has started walking away long before their feet moved. Their heart is no longer in the same place, even though their presence lingers like a fading echo. And yet, here you are, still holding the corner of a connection that heaven is trying to fold closed. Why? Because your heart is loyal. Because your spirit remembers who they used to be. Because part of you still believes they'll turn back and see your worth. And yet, Michael says, holding on to what has already left only deepens the pain. This is not rejection. This is divine preparation. Heaven has seen how tightly you've gripped the version of them that no longer exists. How you've prayed, pleaded, cried to preserve something already gone. But what you've called love, heaven has identified as delay. The delay of your breakthrough. The delay of your peace. The delay of the new season that cannot begin while your hands remain full of what was. Say aloud, I release what is no longer holding me. You may feel guilt rising. That's the echo of old attachments fighting back. You may hear thoughts whisper, what if they come back? What if this is just a test? But beloved, you have already passed the test. Your faithfulness was the proof. Your endurance was the evidence. And now, your obedience is the door to your healing. This is not about bitterness, it's about clarity. Michael says, Not everyone assigned to your story was meant to stay until the last chapter. And some exits come wrapped in silence because heaven wants you to lean into discernment, not desperation. You've wondered why their energy feels heavier now, why every interaction leaves you more confused than comforted. That is not coincidence. That is spiritual misalignment. The vibration of a soul no longer traveling your path. Comment now, I accept divine realignment. Let heaven see your decision. Let the spiritual world recognize your shift. Because the moment you stop chasing clarity from someone who refuses. To be honest, heaven rushes in with the truth you've been seeking. Michael says, this isn't just about them leaving. This is about you stepping forward. You have been loyal to a fault. You have loved beyond your own strength. You have held space for someone who never planned to stay. And now heaven is clearing the space they once occupied, not to leave you empty, to prepare you for fullness, a love that doesn't confuse, presence that doesn't vanish, a connection that doesn't require begging to feel real. Say this now. I trust that what is leaving is making space for what is sacred. My child, heaven whispers, the tears you're holding back are seeds. Every drop waters the ground for your restoration. The heartbreak is not your identity. It's your initiation into healing, into clarity, into destiny. You may be feeling waves of sadness even now. That's okay. That means you're awake. That means your soul is finally catching up with what heaven has been saying all along. Let it break. Let it go. Let it pass. Michael says, sorrow is not the end. It is the space between endings and elevation. And you are being elevated, not in status, but in spirit, not in attention, but in alignment, not with noise, but with knowing. There is a quiet strength rising inside you now. You may not recognize it yet, but heaven does. And so does the one who's about to walk away. Their distance is confirmation. Their fading affection is proof. Because light reveals what darkness tried to hide. Their absence of intention. Comment. I am choosing peace over presence. There will be moments you'll want to reach out, to explain, to defend your worth, but you don't have to. Your value is not proven in their reaction. It is protected in your release. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not unworthy. You are simply too sacred to carry what was never designed to grow with you. Michael says, this separation is not a punishment. It is a mercy. Even now, heaven is rebuilding what was broken by silence. Even now, the angels are gathering every shattered piece of your heart and weaving it into something more whole than it has ever been. Even now, your future is being carved from the pain that tried to bury you. Say aloud, I believe healing is being written into my story right now. This is not about them anymore. This is about you, your peace, your clarity, your freedom. Because when someone truly loves you, their presence doesn't confuse you. Their words don't disappear in the middle of your need. Their energy doesn't feel like a storm that only you are trying to calm. And heaven wants you to remember that. You don't have to earn love. Don't have to beg for consistency. You don't have to chase what's fading. Michael says, you are chosen, not forgotten. Seen, not invisible. Loved, not lost. Let that truth take root. Let it replace every lie you've told yourself. Let it be the soil where your next season grows. Because what's coming isn't just better. It's divine. My beloved child. Listen. Again. Because even though your heart is weary, heaven is not done speaking to you. This message is not here to comfort your illusions. It is here to confirm what your soul has already known. Archangel Michael says, there is someone you have tried to hold on to, but they were never meant to stay. Yes, even the ones you prayed for, even the ones you dreamed with, even the ones you waited on. Heaven does not always remove with noise. Sometimes it separates in silence, not to punish you, but to protect what's sacred within you. You've been trying to figure out when it all changed, when their voice softened, when their messages became fewer, when their heart stopped showing up. But child, it didn't happen all at once. Their goodbye was a process, a quiet walking away, disguised as still being near Dot. And yet you kept waiting. You kept holding space. You kept hoping that one conversation, one memory, one act of love would bring them back to the place they once stood. But Michael says, what they walked away from was never your failure. It was their inability to carry what you carry. Say aloud, I release the weight of waiting. Heaven has been trying to break the loop. The emotional loop that keeps your spirit tied to what has already moved on. The thoughts that whisper, maybe if I did more, maybe if I was different. But child, you were never supposed to twist yourself to fit into a love that kept shrinking to avoid you. There is freedom in seeing clearly. And right now, clarity is finding you. You've seen the signs. The distant energy dot the forgotten promises. The way they started showing up late, not just to places, but to you. Archangel Michael says, you cannot force someone to honor a space they no longer recognize. Comment now. I choose truth over delay. You've been carrying both love and logic, trying to make them agree. But love without honesty becomes torment. And logic without peace becomes punishment. And heaven wants you to stop punishing yourself for something that was never yours to fix. They didn't leave because you were lacking. They left because their season was complete. And no amount of replaying conversations will extend something that heaven has already closed. Say it now. This chapter is closed. I bless it. I release it. You may wonder why it hurts, even when you knew it was coming. That's because your soul is honest. Because you hoped until the end. Because you wanted the story to end differently. But heaven says, this isn't the end of the story. It's the end of a sentence. The page is turning, but the book is not finished. Michael says, they were a paragraph, not your purpose. Do not confuse their role with your reason. They came to teach, to shape, to mirror things you had buried. And they succeeded in that purpose. But now, their presence has turned into interference. Their energy has become a ceiling over your growth. Their silence has become a barrier to your joy. Heaven is not asking you to hate them. Heaven is asking you to let go of needing them. That is where your freedom begins. Comment. I release the need for their return. Because your worth is not connected to who stays. Your value is not decreased by who turns away. And your calling is not canceled just because someone chose not to walk beside you. Michael says, the space they left behind is not emptiness. It is preparation. Preparation for alignment, for clarity, for a relationship that doesn't confuse or contradict your spirit. Say aloud, I make room for divine connection. My child, the pain you feel now is not your identity. It's the threshold, the line you are crossing into something better. And it will not always feel like loss. One day soon, it will feel like peace. Not the peace that comes from answers, but the peace that comes from surrender. They didn't break you. They revealed what you've been holding up all alone. And now, you get to rest from carrying what was never reciprocated. You get to rebuild without pretending. You get to breathe without tension. Michael whispers, the strength it took to hold on is now becoming the courage to release. You are not falling apart. You are falling into alignment. What once drained you is being drained from your atmosphere. What once held you hostage in your thoughts is now losing its grip because you have agreed with truth. Say now, I align with heaven's decision, even when I don't understand it. This is not abandonment. This is divine redirection. This is not rejection. This is a holy rewrite. And you are not alone as you step into it. Someone from heaven has been fighting to get this message to you. They see the part of you that wants to reach for what hurt you. They see the nights you stare at your phone, praying for a sign. They hear the voice in your head that says, maybe it's not over yet. And they are shouting through this message. It had to end so you could begin. Michael says, stop rehearsing the grief. Start receiving the grace. Because grace is here now, covering you, holding you, preparing you not to go back, but to move forward in full power. Your power is returning now, one breath at a time. One release at a time. Comment, I walk forward, even if I cry. This is the goodbye you were never meant to chase. And now, you are free. My child. Heaven has seen what others ignored. The heaviness in your chest. The prayers you whispered when no one answered. The ache you tried to mask with strength. Michael says, you were not weak for feeling deeply. You were chosen to feel what others run from. There is a purpose in your sensitivity. A reason why you sensed their silence before it spoke. Why your heart picked up on their absence before your mind understood. Because your spirit was tuned into heaven's frequency before your logic caught up. You are not too emotional. You are spiritually awake. And with that awakening comes the weight of seeing truth before it becomes visible. Heaven whispers, you saw them fading, and still you loved. You stayed, you hoped. You stood in rooms that were growing colder and convinced yourself it was just a passing wind. But beloved, it wasn't the weather. It was the warning. Archangel Michael says, some goodbyes begin in the spirit long before. They manifest in the natural. You didn't imagine it. You didn't exaggerate it. You discerned it. Say aloud, I trust what I sensed. You've been questioning your intuition. You've replayed the moments you were made to feel dramatic, too intense, too alert. But heaven wants you to know it wasn't overthinking. It was oversight on their part, because they didn't see what you were designed to feel. That's your gift. And sometimes your gift brings grief before it brings growth. That you feel when things are shifting. You sense when loyalty is slipping. You ache for what hasn't been lost yet, but soon will be. Michael says, this isn't punishment. It's preparation. The preparation of your heart to let go without proof. The preparation of your soul to walk forward without closure. The preparation of your destiny to be fulfilled without needing everyone to understand. Comment now. I honor the sensitivity of my spirit. You were told to move on, to get over it, to stop feeling so much. But child, it is through your feeling that heaven communicates. Through the ache that wisdom enters. Through the tears. That healing is born. The tears you've cried in secret have not gone unnoticed. They have watered the next chapter of your journey. And even now, heaven is writing beauty into the places that once held only burden. Say aloud, I make peace with the pain that prepared me. You may still be haunted by memories, not because you miss them, but because your heart remembers who they were when it felt real. But Michael says, do not confuse the memory of a moment with the reality of a pattern. One moment of love does not erase a history of neglect. One apology does not cancel a soul's consistent absence. You gave your heart room to grow, but they gave excuses room to stay. And now, heaven is calling you back to yourself. To your clarity, to your peace, to the quiet knowing that what left was not your loss. It was your liberation. Comment, I accept my freedom. This freedom doesn't always feel like joy. At first, it may feel like empty space, like a silence that echoes too loudly. But child, that space is where your healing will stretch. That silence is where God will speak next. Michael says, do not rush to fill the void. Rest in the sacred space you've been given. You are not behind. You are not abandoned. You are not cursed. You are chosen to feel so that you could discern. Chosen to break so that you could become. Chosen to let go so that you could ascend. Say aloud, I was chosen to survive this. Even now, heaven is redeeming the tears. Even now, the angels are moving in places you cannot see. Even now. That ache in your chest is becoming an opening for divine intervention. You will not always feel this way. You will not always carry this weight. You will not always remember them with pain. Not the day will come when you will bless them for leaving, not from bitterness, but from revelation, because it wasn't until they left that you began to return to yourself. Michael says, some exits are entrances in disguise. What felt like loss was the unlocking of alignment. What seemed like betrayal was the breaking of a cycle. What looked like abandonment was the beginning of ascension. Comment now, I am ascending into alignment. You are not meant to beg for love. You are not meant to shrink for approval. You are not meant to carry guilt for someone else's choices. Let that be your new standard. Let that be the new boundary you never had before. Heaven is not just healing you, it is maturing you, teaching you to recognize your worth without needing validation, teaching you to stand in truth even when silence surrounds you, teaching you to let go, not because you stopped loving, but because you started listening. Say it now. I am listening to heaven more than I'm holding on to them. You are walking forward with every breath, with every tea, with every decision to stop revisiting what drained you. And as you walk, heaven walks with you. Michael says, you are not walking away, you are walking home. To your strength. To your calling. To your peace. Let the silence be holy. Let the space be sacred. The ache be evidence that something divine is being born. And it is, inside you, around you, through you. Comment, I welcome what heaven is birthing in me. The process may be long, but the promise is certain. And what's coming next will not confuse you. It will comfort you. Because now, you are aligned. Michael speaks now, and his words come with clarity. They were not your destiny. They were your delay. My child, you have spent too much time asking what went wrong. But heaven is not concerned with the detour. It is focused on your return. Return to alignment. Return to clarity. Return to the part of you that stopped shrinking, just to keep them comfortable. They were never meant to carry what God placed within you. That's why their hands dropped it. That's why their eyes couldn't see it. You tried to teach them your language of love, but their ears were tuned to distraction. And now, heaven wants to free you from the illusion. Say aloud, I break agreement with delay. You thought they were the miracle, but they were the mirror. They showed you where you abandoned yourself, where you begged instead of believed, where you clung instead of climbed. Michael says, this was never about them staying. It was about you waking up. They never had the capacity to honor your depth, not because they were evil, but because your calling requires isolation before elevation. You are not meant to be understood by everyone, especially not by those who were sent only for the beginning, not the becoming. Comment now, I release the need to be understood by them. There is something sacred in solitude. It's not emptiness. It's invitation. An invitation to rediscover your wholeness. To remember who you were before they needed your light to see. Michael whispers, they borrowed your glow, but never brought oil. They walked beside you, but they never walked with you. Now, heaven is walking you out of that agreement, out of the emotional contracts you never signed, but still kept, out of the patterns of over-explaining, over-giving, over-waiting. Say it now, I cancel every false contract in my spirit, because what is coming next requires your full presence. No more splitting your soul to prove your worth. No more delaying your own growth to keep from outgrowing them. Heaven says, let the release be final. Let the tears fall. Let the silence echo. Let the peace replace the pattern. Comment, I choose peace over pattern. This is not loss. This is rescue. And you are being rescued from what you thought you needed. You are being repositioned for what you were truly made for. You are being refined, not rejected. And you are not alone in this realignment. My child. As the silence deepens and the door behind you remains closed, you may feel forgotten. You may wonder if you missed the moment, if the blessing is past, if heaven forgot to come back for you. But Archangel Michael says, you're not being left behind, you're being lifted up. This season has been one of emptying, of loss, of shifting plates beneath your feet. But it was never punishment. It was positioning. It was realignment with what you once prayed for, though you didn't know the path would be so lonely to reach it. Heaven is not rushing you. Heaven is refining you. Haven't fallen behind. You've fallen into purpose. Say aloud, I am exactly where divine timing has placed me. You must know this, what left was never meant to anchor you. It was meant to move you, to shake you out of familiar bondage, to unfasten you from people who couldn't grow with you. Their absence is not a hole. It is a portal. Heaven is not done with your story. In fact, it has just turned the page. Michael says, there are blessings that cannot arrive until you are alone. Because alone, you hear differently. Alone, you let go of distractions. Alone, your spirit begins to echo the rhythm of the divine. Comment, I welcome the blessings that require my solitude. Don't chase those who were never sent to stay. Don't mourn doors that were meant to close. Don't question the delay question, the dependence you once had on those who couldn't carry your promise. Michael whispers, you were too available for those who were unavailable for you. Heaven is teaching you now how to value presence, how to give only where there is return. How to love without losing yourself. Say aloud, I am no longer available for my own depletion. You've said goodbye in the physical, but now heaven is asking you to say goodbye in the soul. No more replaying memories. No more rescuing old versions of people. No more negotiating with what you already outgrew. Let this be the moment you exit the emotional wilderness and step into spiritual order. Comment now, I enter into spiritual alignment. Your next chapter requires your full capacity. No more dragging broken attachments into divine assignments. No more carrying ghosts of old agreements. No more calling storms seasons just to make sense of staying too long. Michael says, this time you will not lower your frequency to be loved. You will rise and be met there. The person coming next will not confuse you. The opportunity next will not drain you. The door next will not demand your silence. Say it now. I only accept what aligns with heaven. You are not waiting for them to return. You are not waiting for them to change. You are not waiting for them to notice the pain they caused. You are waiting only on heaven. And heaven never misses the moment. Heaven always arrives right on time. Michael says, you are on schedule, even in your sorrow. There's a peace rising now, not because you understand it all, but because you've surrendered the need to. That's the shift. That's the real transformation. Not moving on in defiance, but moving forward in faith. Comment, I choose faith over explanation. This was never just about relationships. This was about identity. This was about reclaiming your voice. This was about recognizing when God speaks through absence louder than presence. And you prayed for clarity, He gave you closure. You prayed for direction, He gave you disconnection. You prayed for peace, He gave you space. Now, it's your turn. Say aloud, I match heaven's decision with my agreement. This is a holy closing. Not bitter. Not broken. Not abandoned, but complete. Michael says, completion is not the same as failure. You didn't fail. You finished. You didn't lose. You let go. You didn't fall. You were freed. Comment, I honor the completion. Now step into what's next. Step in boldly. Step in softly. Step in weeping if you must, but step, because heaven is already ahead of you, preparing what eyes have not seen and hearts have not yet held. It's not too late. You're not too far. The best didn't pass you. The real just began. Michael says, the closing chapter is always the heaviest, because the glory after it is the greatest. You are being trusted with glory now. You are being called to carry what couldn't survive the last room dot. You are being crowned in silence, promoted in the presence of emptiness, lifted, not because of who left, but because of who stayed. Heaven stayed. God stayed. The angels never stopped watching, and your soul never stopped growing. Say now, I accept the glory that follows grief. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are chosen.